Hey, Hershey Free, I wanted to give you an update on something the elders have been working on this year. At the beginning of the year, we started wrestling with the question, how do we engage the national holidays of Memorial Day, 4th of July, and Veterans Day? How do we build our services around those particular holidays? Obviously, as we gather on Sundays, we gather as people who are citizens of God's kingdom, but we also want to recognize our privileges and responsibilities as citizens of this country. So with that in mind, the elders formed a patriotism task force, and Dave Shepard, you were chair of that task force, so tell us about your work.
Sure. Coming out of the meeting in January with the congregation, the elders asked that this task force be formed. They asked if I would chair it. I brought together a diverse group of people, including those who had differing perspectives on this issue, differing age groups, and so we came together. We considered a lot of different materials. In fact, I said the stack of materials that I gave them was about that thick, but we used the feedback from the congregation. We looked at other information from pastors and church leaders about their views on this, and we considered all of this as a task force.
And the central recommendation that you gave us was that we use these 3 Sundays to recognize those who served on behalf of our country.
Absolutely. What is the church? The church is people. And so we wanted to make sure that those Sundays focused on the people within our church who had served our country in times of war or even times of peace.
Well, one of the members of your task force is also someone who has served our country, Greg Gaffney. So, Greg, thanks for being a part of this task force, but tell us a bit about your own service.
I was in the United States Air Force from September of 1965 to September of 1969. I was a communication center specialist with a top secret crypto clearance. I was stationed in New York for about a year. Went to Vietnam for 13 months at a radar site up in the Central Highlands. Came back to the States, was up in Maine for about 11 months. Then I returned to Southeast Asia, to Northeast Thailand, to Nakhon Phanom Air Force Base. I was discharged in September of 1969 as a sergeant.
Well, again, thank you. Thanks, Greg, for your service. And as I said, one of the recommendations of your committee was that we use these 3 weekends to acknowledge those who served. So tell us how each of those could be a part of that.
Well, Memorial Day is to honor those who lost their lives, gave their lives for our country. The 4th of July focus on values of freedom, liberty, and its obligations, its roots in a biblical worldview with God as our sense of liberty. And Veterans Day, recognition of veterans and recognition of those who are currently serving in the military.
Thank you, Greg. Well, Dave, in addition to this recommendation about honoring those who've served, were there other recommendations that your committee had?
Yeah, there was one other significant recommendation that was regarding the flag. The committee did not feel it would be appropriate to have the flag in the sanctuary, but we felt it would be appropriate on the Sundays around those holidays that it would be displayed prominently in our lobbies. So that's what we're planning on doing, is have that displayed prominently in the lobbies of the church.
Well, good. Well, again, gentlemen, I want to thank both of you for your service on this task force, and also, Greg, again, thank you for your service to our nation.
Yes, sir.